right, we're at Viking Aircraft Engines. We've been pretty busy doing a lot of installs lately, and one that we're finishing up now is Paul Mason, who trailered his 750 STOL from Maine to Florida to have Jan do the installation. And Paul, you want to tell us a little bit about maybe why you chose the Viking engine?
Well, from my perspective, as far as smooth engines, quiet, dependable, I've been looking at them for at least 8 years.
All right, and what kind of mission do you kind of have with this plane? What's your overall goal?
Oh, basically just sightseeing all over New England and however far out I can branch.
A little bit of low and slow?
Yep, that's it.
Well, I think you have the perfect plane for it, and I think you're going to have a nice little setup with the engine. And how do you feel about the installation process? Would you have rather done it yourself? Are you happy you made the move to have the installation done here?
Very happy I had it done here. I think I'd have been over my head and it would have taken me weeks, maybe months to do it.
All right, we're gonna have a little wind on this one, but we'll just try to talk a little bit louder. This is Paul Mason's airplane. We just finished the install, and we just did another one. But so let's just kind of cover the details of this one that might be a little bit different. One thing we worked on was the new fuel pump assembly here. We rotated this a little bit. We turned this down. We did a lot of little things in this area. Went with a low profile sender here. And we rerouted the harness. And we did that because this area has the built-in protrusion on the cowling, and we want to make sure that that fits. So just for those people that are installing at home, make sure that you kind of pay attention to what I just said here. You want to reroute the wire loom to the other side. You want to rotate this way a little bit. As you can see, that can be rotated. You don't want any clamps or screws in this area here because you want this to be clean. Rerouting the harness out this way and down will clean up this area for that. So that's one thing that's a little bit different. Also, we didn't route all the harnesses on the outside of the engine this time. There is a cavity underneath here in the manifold, so we just routed everything through there this time. So that's the preference of whatever you want to do. We did the dual throttle again on this one, and we've got one going this way, and we've got one going right through here and over to that side. We got our waterless coolant and our gearbox vent bottles. We did lift the engine up a 1/4 inch on the bottom on this one. So, and also the radiator mount actually would be almost better. I put a little bend in the metal there, so that took care of it. But it would be nice if once you put the 1/4 inch spacer, we just use washers, that hanger for the radiator is then in the front of the spacer towards the rubber coupling. Future engine mounts, as we found that we need to raise it up a 1/4 inch in the front, will then of course be a 1/4 inch taller. Now again, the whole airplane looks nose heavy, nose down, okay? And it's true. You can see the tail going up in the air right there. That's where top of the cage is where it's supposed to be level. But once you get the tail on there and the wings and fuel and all that, the airplane will settle down. We do recommend though an extension on this nose wheel or the new fork for the Super Duty to raise the nose wheel clearance, especially with this 75-inch STOL propeller, just to get a little bit more clearance on everything. Now, inside, let's see, we did a few little things differently. We are now using, well, he had a much smaller shelf unit here, so we were kind of limited on space, but we did use it. We put the heater on this side rather than the other side because a lot of times he'll be flying by himself, and why not? Why not have the heat to the person that's flying the most? We still have our little Odyssey 310 batteries, which all then, as we explained before, runs number 10 wires to the bus, and they're from there it runs the number 6 out to the engine. So you do need both batteries on for starting. So a little placard on the panel for that. And got the ECU mounted over there. Now, we made up this switch panel. This is going to be a standard thing for Viking engines. It's actually going to be the console of a Zenith airplane. It'll have the shape of the top of the console, not the sides. And it'll have the little 3/4 inch sides here so they can be riveted to the original console. But it will then be available from us with all the cutouts and everything. And it'll then have, if you want, all this stuff done for you. Either just populated with parts or finished as far as wired, and you just hook up power, positive and negative to it. The airplane, other than that, we'll start up and run it here in a second. We did the same kind of fuel system, and we routed everything through. It was a little easier on this one because the back is not completed. We have our splitter here with the check valves and the pressure transducer. And we also did run just one heavy but nice ground wire to the back on this one, because rather than running all the individual grounds. Now, we left like 5 extra wires in here for the customer to use for whatever, lights and so forth in the back here. There's our splitter block. This one we just bolted right through with some standoffs, and it's in line with the high pressure filter. And we got the 10 thousandths orifice with the bleed in order to bleed off excess pressure when the airplane's parked back to the tank. Now, we did route the fuel. Another little change here. Here's what I talked about. We put a grounding bus with a 16 gauge wire going to it. Actually, that's a number 10, in order for you to be able to, or him to be able to ground his, well, we grounded the fuel pumps. We grounded, I take that back. The fuel pumps still have their individual grounds going all the way up front, because those are very, very important. But we're able to ground the fuel transducer, and it can also then be used for lights and anything that's going to be grounded in the back or on the wings of the airplane. We finished the mounting of the header tank. We've got a 3/4 inch square tubing that took the place of the L angle in the Zenith airplane. And we've got our clamps, and we slotted it and we mounted it, and then we added a brace to it, just to the airframe. Here's where that one screw, you gotta be careful that you don't, see we got a couple of washers on there. You don't want too long of a screw there. You wanna measure that so you don't thread it into the tank and bust through and make a leak in your tank. That would be not so good. Now, remember in the previous video we were showing all the fuel lines towards the middle. This one, the builder wanted 2 on one side and 2 on the other side. Okay, so we got that done, and let's take a look up on top again about exactly how that was done, and then get to the wings. So the last one we did kind of a channel in the middle of the roof. On this one, we're doing 2 over here. We used the snap-in nylon grommets, okay, and we added 2 more over here, and just clear so it's above the windows, and that kind of turned out nice. And another couple of nylon grommets right here. So all in all, 2, 4, 6, a whole bunch of nylon grommets, and we were able to just get the hoses. We did do top and bottom here and side by side here. Probably could have done side by side here as well. Doesn't really matter. Other than that, it turned out to be a really, really nice installation, a nice airplane. And let's put the cowling on and run her up. Paul Mason's a friend of ours now. He's a customer, been here with us, him and his wife. We've gone to dinner with them every night, and it's been a good time. And a nice business relationship and friendship. He lives in Maine with his wife, and brought the airplane down here behind his motorhome, and now he's going to take it back home all ready to run. Now we just finished the cowling. It's pretty much done the same as the other one, with a piano hinge on each side. We did think that we were gonna, with the new fuel pump, we're gonna kind of bump into the cowling over here. So, and we haven't put the nice screen in here to make it look like an inlet, but in fact it did clear. So a little bit of fiberglass over here. But the trick, I think, on my next installation will be to do the top cowling first. And the reason I say that is there's more things that are critical up here than there is on the bottom. Or just take a little bit more time. But it seemed like, you know, making sure that the top cowling was not off-center this way at all, because we do need the room that's up in here. So just pay attention to that all this stuff clears. You might want to coat that with a 1/4-inch foam mat or something like that when you lay the cowling on to do this job. We also did the top hinge, but this time I just kind of countersunk it a little bit, or made it somewhat flush so the cowling can lay straight underneath. And that was just by turning one hinge bulb opposite of the other one, and then using 2 shorter pins rather than one longer pin that is totally on top of the cowling. I think the Sonics airplanes are done, a lot of it is done this way. All right, let's crank up the engine and see how she runs.